Hello, and welcome to day number 28 of 30 Days of Yoga. In this series, we are setting a new intention and transforming into a new version of ourselves. Today, we will be connecting with our community. So, of course, as we transform, our relationships may as well. And it's important to connect with our community as a source of support for this transformation. So, we'll be doing a reflective yin class with some poses towards the end held for longer periods of time rather than our typical 3 minutes. And if you like this practice, I also offer one-on-one private sessions as well as corporate wellness programs. You can check my website for more information, margaretflock.com. And if you'd like a free target area reference chart detailing all the different parts of the body, as well as yoga poses that correspond so that you can really get specific with these target areas, that's going to be free when you sign up to my newsletter. And the link is in the description below. Also, don't forget your journal prompt for the end of today's practice. That's going to be in the description below as well. So, for this class, I recommend 2 blocks. If you don't have them, no worries. You can still do them. But this will just make things a little bit easier for us. We're going to start in a downward facing dog. Don't worry, we're just here for just a moment to set up for our first pose. Dragon pose. You may know this in the vinyasa practice as low lunge. Go ahead and step the right foot in between the hands and soften the back knee down. Go ahead and use the blocks if you need. I always like to use the blocks to start. You're going to feel a stretch in the left hip flexor. Now you can take multiple variations here. If you want, you can totally just reach the arms up, or you can come down to the inside of the right leg for more of a lizard variation. That's another option as well. And this is not vinyasa, this is yin, so we have different rules here. You can slide the right knee forward over the ankle for an extra stretch in the ankle. It's totally up to you. I'm going to take a traditional variation here. We're going to hold this for 3 minutes. Really sink into this left hip flexor. And if you have the blocks, you can lower them down to a lower height setting as you begin to deepen in through the stretch. So this one is a little bit more active than our other types of yin poses. And the reason why is because yin does not always have to be relaxing. Again, we are exercising here, so there might be some poses that we use more muscle work than others, and this is one of them. As long as you're not using any muscles in that target area, that left hip flexor, you are good. We're really just trying to soften back there and open up that area of the body over time. We have a little bit more than a minute for this pose. You guys are doing great. When you're ready, go ahead and curl the back toes under. You can stay on the blocks if you want. Lift the back knee. Step back to your downward facing dog. Find stillness here at first, just to allow that pose to sink into the body. Noticing what sensations might be coming up for you. That one is not an easy pose. Now you can go ahead and just bend out the knees or sway the hips from left to right. Whatever you need to break up that tension. When you're ready, go ahead and step the left foot forward this time. Drop that back knee down. Sink into the right hip flexor here. We are targeting that right hip flexor. And you can either stay down on the palms of the hands, or you can take any other variation that I described before. Now, most of you guys are along your journey, day number 28. We've already done a few yin classes during this challenge, but if you are new here and you're just popping in to do a yin class, there are several things to keep in mind. The first one is safety, of course. If ever you feel unsafe in any pose, just slowly back out. You can try another variation, or you can do another stretch entirely. It's completely up to you. And the other thing to know about safety is you will feel slightly uncomfortable in these deep stretches, but there's a difference between just feeling uncomfortable and straight up feeling unsafe. So just recognize when you feel that feeling of, ooh, this doesn't feel right, and just slowly back out. So that's only something you can know. I'm not in your body, so I don't know what you're experiencing, but just when in doubt, back out. That's what I always say. Now, the other thing to know is we are being gentle with our bodies, so there's never any forcing, there's never any pushing here. We're working with our bodies rather than against. So if you are pulling yourself down, you may be okay now, but it could be leading to injury if it becomes a habit. So just be careful about that as well. Second thing to keep in mind is we are targeting a specific area of the body in these yin stretches. So in that case, definitely, if you don't feel that stretch, take a different variation or a different pose entirely. It's important that we feel that stretch. And the alignment rules don't apply here. We are exercising the connective tissues here, not the muscles. And so therefore, we don't have to take proper alignment. It's more important to find that specific stretch. And the third thing to keep in mind is that we will be holding these poses for a long period of time. So just make sure that it's something that you can hold. And I always recommend starting at about 60 to 70% of the full depth of the stretch. That way it allows your body to slowly open up over time naturally. And there's never any forcing or pushing there. And you'll be able to sustain it for the full 3 minutes. Oh, looks like we have about a little bit more than 30 seconds here. You guys are doing great. When you're ready, go ahead and curl the back toes under. Lift the back knee. Step back to downward facing dog. Woo. Find stillness for just a moment here. Allow that pose to just integrate. Noticing what sensations might be coming up. And then you can go ahead and bend out the knees or shake out the hips, whatever movements you need here. There's really no rules, just breaking up that tension in the body. You ready? Go ahead and drop down to the knees. Remove the blocks. We're going to come all the way down onto our belly for Sphinx pose. Stack shoulders over elbows, palms face down. Press the pelvis down into the mat, grow through the spine, and then slide the chest forward. You're going to feel this in the spine. So you can keep the feet together, you can bring them wide. You can also gaze up towards the ceiling or gaze down towards the mat. It's up to you. Looks like Chloe has joined us today for practice. She's being sweet, being very good. Sometimes we have puppy yoga here on this channel, so she's always welcome. This pose is also really good if you are someone that sits at a desk for long periods of time or is scrolling on their phones on social media. This is a great pose to just kind of undo that rounding sensation of the spine. We are going in the opposite way here. We're drawing the shoulders back and just undoing some of that damage. Of course, if you hold any position for too long, it can have negative effects on the body. So we have to take steps to reverse that. We have about a minute left. On your next exhale, lower all the way down and press back to child's pose. You can take any variation of child's pose here. We're just taking a quick counter stretch, finding stillness, noticing what sensations are coming up in the body as a result of that stretch. There's no judgment here, we just notice. When you're ready, you can rise back up, maybe take a few rounds of cat-cow, whatever feels good to you here to break up that tension. When you're ready, go ahead and fall over onto one hip and swing the legs around. Great job, you guys. Next, we're going to be taking butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Inhale, lift through the spine. Exhale, round, feeling a stretch in both hips at the same time. Now, if you press the feet further away from you, you're going to feel this in the hamstrings more. Definitely still the hips, but a little bit more the hamstrings. And if you draw the feet in, you're going to feel it more in the insides of the hips and towards the groin. So it just depends on what stretch you want to take today. But whatever variation you take, you are definitely going to still feel this in the hips. So that's our target area. We're going to hold this one for about 4 minutes. The 4-minute mark is where that transformation in our bodies start to occur. The connective tissues will start to transform and become more of a liquid-like state, allowing nutrients and energy to flow more freely. So when we're going on these journeys of transformation, you may find that your relationships also change, and that's okay. We can't let our relationships hold us back by becoming a more authentic and true version of ourselves. So sometimes we may have to allow some relationships to float out of our life, and that can be painful. But we have to ask ourselves, what's more important to us? Is it more important to cling on to the people that knew you for your past self? Or is it more important to honor the person that you really are inside, that true, authentic version? We are transforming here in this practice, but we're really transforming into a deeper version of our highest self, aligning with our true values, coming into alignment with who we really are. Sometimes some relationships may go away, and maybe in the future they'll come back around, but we also have to be willing to let go if we want to progress. On your next inhale, press yourself back up. Let's find physical pose. Laying down on our back, extend the legs out, and rest all the way back down. Arms by your side, You might know this pose as Shavasana, but in the yin practice, we call it pentacle pose. We find stillness here to allow the pose to integrate into our bodies. And if you want, you can plant the feet down on the earth, drop the knees from left to right, or just shake out the knees. Or you can bring the knees into the chest, make circles with the knees in one direction and the other. Just breaking up that tension. Let's go ahead and hinge up. Send the legs up towards the ceiling. Lower the heels to hover, swiftly pop them back up, and rock forward to a seat. Next, we're gonna take square pose. So bring the right shin parallel to the front edge of the mat. The left shin directly on top of it. So you have a square shape with the legs. Some people may know this as double pigeon. If you have a big gap in between the knee and the foot, you can slide a block underneath. Sometimes just one corner is enough. And go ahead and just hinge forward, feeling that stretch in both hips at the same time. We're holding this one for 3 minutes here. You're feeling it in both hips, but primarily the left hip, since that's the one on top. So it may be helpful as you make this transformation to reevaluate the people that are in your life. Maybe there are certain groups that you'd like to join that hold the same values as you. Maybe certain events that you can go to just connect with these like-minded people. It's important that we find our tribe on this journey. When we find our tribe, those are going to be people that support us to blossom into this new version of ourselves, the version that's true to our hearts. So many times, it's really the people around us that end up holding us back. So it's important to ask, does this person serve my transformation, or are they holding me back? And then you can take that time to branch out, meet new people, find those with the similar values in a similar stage of their life. It may help to think about it in terms of where these people are hanging out. Ask yourself, where does your tribe hang out? What do they like? What hobbies do they have? What parts of town do they hang around? And then change your routines to go through those parts of town, or find those locations where they may be hanging out. Or maybe join groups with certain hobbies that they might have, to find people with that similar vibe. On your next inhale, press yourself back up. And just switch legs, bringing the left shin on the bottom, the right shin on top. Maybe use a block if you have a large gap. Sometimes it solves itself when we start to fold down. And again, you're going to feel this in both hips, but probably more the right hip than the left. We're going to hold for 3 minutes. So when we find these like-minded people, it actually becomes more easy to stay true to this new version that we've created because it creates a positive feedback loop. It's only natural for us as humans to want to fit in with the group. So when we surround ourselves with these like-minded people, we automatically want to fit in more and become more of ourselves. How do you know if you find the right group? You know because when you're around them, you feel lighter. You feel like it's easier to be yourself. You don't feel like you have to hide or mask who you are. You don't feel like you have to change yourself to fit in. It just feels natural. It also feels natural to meet up with them. You don't feel like you have to force the friendship or in any way. You don't feel like it's inconvenient to meet up with them. You don't feel like they're blowing you off. Friendship just comes with ease. On your next inhale, press back up. Bring the hands behind your back. Uncross the legs. Let's find pinnacle pose one more time, just lying down on your back. Finding that point of stillness to allow our bodies to integrate that pose. When you're ready, go ahead and draw the knees into your chest. Make circles with the knees, or you can straighten out one leg and the other. Just doing whatever you need to break up that tension in the body. Maybe take a happy baby. Maybe drop the knees from right to left. Next, let's find a twist. Cross the right leg over left. Drop the knees over to the left. And you can either bring the arms out to a T. They can be down by the sides. They can rest on the torso. If you want to deepen the twist, gaze over the right shoulder. Or draw the knees closer in towards the chest. Twisted roots. This pose targets the spine. You're going to feel a twisting sensation. We're going to hold this for the full 4 minutes on both sides. Really allowing time for internal reflection of the community that we currently have, the community that we would like to integrate as we transform. It can be also helpful to invite other people into your transformation. If you share with someone what you're trying to implement in your life, transformation you're going through, this can actually help you stay accountable. So it can be helpful to have an accountability partner, a buddy that you can share your goals with, and then they can share their goals with you. And then maybe once a week you can check in with each other, maybe start a text thread and share what was easy that week, what was more challenging. And that allows you guys to grow as a team together. When we invite other people into our transformation, this also kind of allows us to psychologically stick to the resolution that we made. So when we're encouraging another person to stick with their goals, automatically, it's almost like we have to stick to our goals, because how can we tell someone else to do it if we can't do it ourselves? It's kind of like that positive feedback loop. The more people you can bring in, the better. On your next inhale, draw the knees back to center. And simply switch the cross of the legs, bring left leg over the right. Drop both knees to the right. You can take the same variation that you did on the other side, or you can take a whole new variation. Again, we'll be here for about 4 minutes, so wherever you are, just make sure you can stick to that time frame. You're going to feel a twisting sensation going in the other direction in the spine. People who are meant to be in your life are naturally going to want to support any transformation you choose to make. At the end of the day, your heart knows where you need to be and how you need to grow. And in this transformation, we're becoming more of that person, more of our true selves. So the more we blossom into this new self, the more we're going to attract the people, the places, and the things that are meant to be in our lives. sometimes people may float away from your journey, and that's okay, because they were never meant to be on our journey in the first place. They may have served their purpose at the time, but now we can look forward to the future, to greener pastures. Whenever someone floats out of our life, that creates a new space, it creates a vacancy for someone new to come in. When you become more of this true self, those people will automatically be attracted to you. We have about 1 more minute here. On your next inhale, draw the knees back in. Uncross the legs. Let's find pinnacle pose one last time. Allowing that to marinate through our bodies. Taking the time to notice. And when you're ready, you can draw the knees in. Do whatever you need to do to break up that tension. If you want to take pinnacle pose for your final resting pose, you totally can. But in yin, we don't always have to take shavasanas, so if you'd like to close out from me, go ahead and hinge up, send the legs up towards the ceiling, lower the heels to hover, swiftly pop them back up, roll up to a seat. Find a nice, comfortable cross-legged position. Bring the hands to your heart. Let's take 3 breaths here to seal our practice. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. One more big breath. Let it go. Thank you for joining me in our yin practice today. Namaste. Don't forget your journal prompt in the description below. And if you like that target area reference chart, that'll be in the description as well. Congratulations for finishing out day number 28. I'll see you tomorrow.